After our first few updates spent coming to grips with our Detroit-based Yearlong 2023 Ford F-150 Lightning XLT's uncomfortable relationship between speed and range, we decided to take a closer look at how the two are related using real-world results instead of estimations. So we re-ran our Motor Trend road trip range test, varying the cruising speed at 5 mph increments between 55 and 80 miles per hour. Using the aerodynamic drag estimates we worked out in our arrival story, we then adjusted our real-world range added charging time results at 70 miles per hour for each of the different test speeds. We were then able to crunch some more accurate numbers to theorize the optimum speed and charging strategy for an imaginary 1,000-mile road trip, one where the driver would find an unoccupied, functional, DC fast charger at varying ideally spaced intervals along the way. First, allow us to recap our Michigan Lightning XLT's official Motor Trend road trip range, 240 miles. That reflects the reasonable distance you can hope to drive after charging up to 100% at home, pulling onto a lightly traveled highway that allows mostly constant cruising at 70 miles per hour, and driving the battery down to 5% charge, a reasonable safety cushion. Recall that vehicles on the EPA highway test average 48.3 miles per hour over a simulated distance of 10.3 miles, and the published EPA combined range incorporates this result with even slower stop-and-go city driving. So Mount road trip range will likely never equal the EPA combined range figure, 320 miles in this case. As we noted in that arrival story, drag force increases with the square of speed. So, at highway speeds, aero drag dwarfs the power consumption attributable to factors like rolling resistance, climate control, or accessory loads. By and large, our test results roughly mirror our theoretical range estimates based solely on aerodynamic drag, with the truck performing slightly better than expected on the high end, probably owing to our rough approximation of frontal area, and slightly worse at the low end, where factors like rolling resistance, accessory load, etc. start to figure more prominently. From the chart shown here, you can plainly see that the real-world driving range is more than 100 miles below the EPA combined estimate at 80 miles per hour. Let us open by saying that the best long-trip strategy for our imperfect world with scattered charging stations in varying states of repair typically involves programming your EV's native navigation system and then possibly getting a second opinion from an app like PlugShare or a better route planner. The former's users are great about reporting malfunctioning chargers. Those apps will tend to minimize trip duration by running the battery down to around the 20% mark, at which point the battery can typically accept max charging and scheduling shorter charges. For our calculations, we presume the first leg equals the road trip range for that speed. Each subsequent leg drives precisely the aero-adjusted number of miles added during the particular charging session, thereby preserving the original 5% battery charge cushion. Oh, and the truck stops to charge from the set speed instantaneously before also resuming the set speed instantaneously. In other words, this is obviously hypothetical. Yes, over a 1,000-mile trip, maintaining a constant 80 miles per hour saves 50 minutes of driving time versus driving 75 miles per hour, but 45 minutes of that are consumed by the 3 additional 15-minute charging stops, for an ideal savings of less than 5 minutes, which the time of slowing, hooking up, etc. surely consumes. If you can tolerate 70 miles per hour driving, you'll eliminate another 2 charging stops, stretching the total journey time by another 28 minutes relative to the 75 mile per hour time, but quite possibly clawing some of that back in logistical time savings. We extrapolated an estimate for 85 miles per hour, and wow, does that extend the journey. Relative to going 80 miles per hour, the 11-hour and 45-minute drive time is extended by the addition of 6 15-minute charging stops, or 3 more 30 and 45-minute stops, with the effect of nearly equalizing the overall trip time with that of traveling 65 miles per hour, and that's before you figure in potential speeding citation stops. If you just hate frequent stops, you're welcome to extend the charging sessions to 30 or 45 minutes, though some of the latter could potentially stray above the 80% charge point at which fast chargers significantly slow down, which would throw off our numbers. The overall time penalty is less than we'd have expected, and seems small enough to be offset by savings in actual time slowing, hooking up, unhooking, and resuming travel. The 55 miles per hour trip duration is only extended by 3%, 30 minutes, by swapping 7 15-minute stops for 3 45-minute ones, while the 80 miles per hour one is 8% longer, 75 minutes, with 10 45-minute chargers instead of 22 15-minute ones. In the months to come we look forward to treating our Lightning to some mil-milia adventures and comparing actual navigation strategies with our theoretical findings and actual trip experiences. Stay tuned.
We have come to the end of the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel to help us.